Welcome into a Week 17 Giants Hangout brought to you by Crestron. My name is Madeline Burke, joined as always by Russ Salzberg and Matt Sitek. And guys, another tough loss for these New York Football Giants on the road in Atlanta against the rookie quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Giants started out strong, 7-0, taking a lead early, but then 34 unanswered points by the Falcons. And it was all Atlanta as the Giants dropped their 10th straight of the season. Russ, when you look back at this game that was Week 16, what are your biggest takeaways?
My biggest takeaway, Madeline, is what we've been saying, what I've been saying for the past few weeks, not just 10 weeks. It's a Murphy's Law season. What can go wrong has gone wrong, and it just continues to be that way. When we had a lead, and you after that drive, what was it, a 14-play drive? You could feel, great catch, tiptoe by Tracy in the end zone, great catch. You could feel the enthusiasm. They were on the road, and that's what you want to do. You want to, get a little lead. They were on the road. But that pick six, you can feel everything change. You could feel the mood of everything change. And I'm watching it. You and I are watching it on TV. It just, it was on the road, so it wasn't at MetLife, where you could say all the air was taken out of the stadium, but you can tell this team has had enough trouble trying to win games. So here they are in a nice position, and the pick six just changed. That first one changed everything. It just changed everything. And then the second one, ball gets tipped. Another, two pick sixes. Dave said it after the game. You can't be giving up 14 points on offense.
And that first one, as you mentioned, though, it was right after a delay of game penalties.
Yes.
The Giants just had a delay of game, and then they broke the huddle late. And Drew Lock is so focused on not having another penalty there that he's hurrying. And it's like Sean O'Hara said on the postgame show last night, you got to play quick, but not hurried. And Matt, when you're hurrying and these mistakes happen, especially turnovers, when Dable has said week in and week out that this is a point of emphasis, you can't have two, not just costly turnovers, but turnovers that result in touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not going out on a limb here by saying those two plays were just back-breaking plays. I mean, the Giants jumped out to that 7-0 lead. They put together a very nice looking drive. As Russ mentioned, 14 plays, 70,
great.
Took over 8 minutes off of the clock. You were like, I think we were all thinking like, all right, we've got some momentum going. Like, where's this offense been the last few months? Like, let's keep this going. Now, the unfortunate thing is that play was 70 yards. The Giants didn't get 70 yards of total offense for their next, I don't know how many, 6 drives up until the very last drive of the game, in which the game was already 34-7. And it was obviously out of control at that point. But you put together such a nice drive, and then the Giants were unable to put any sort of consistent offensive production together after that drive. And like, of course, the 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns. Those are the plays that stick out because turned into 14 points directly given right to the Falcons. But at the end of the day, even without those plays, the Giants offense outside of that first drive did not do enough to put themselves in a position to win this game. I mean, as Coach Dable said in his post-game press conference, I don't even know how many times he said it, but the Giants just were not good enough yesterday in any phase of the ball.
No, listen, Matt, right on. That's exactly, I was going to say the same thing. It's just, and players are players. They're not robots. They're human beings. And listen, they all know, they all hear, they all understand the criticism. And you go ahead. Now, as you just said, you grab a lead in a nice drive, and they're not thinking, we're this, we're that. But then all of a sudden, not only do they give up the lead, but they give it up on a pick six. And then they say, you can see it reeking into their heads. Here we go again. Here we go again. That's why I called it demoralizing. It's just very, very frustrating. It was frustrating for all parties concerned, and it's got 2 weeks left in the season. And, people ask me, well, Russ, what do they do moving forward? It's what Dave says. You got to try to win a game. There's nothing else to do moving forward but try to win a game. Easier said than done, based upon what we've seen for 10 weeks, but they got to try and win a game. And, while they're trying to do that, then there's assessments. Nobody's stupid. There's assessments going on to who's going to be here next year and who won't be here next year in terms of personnel.
Right. And as you try to win a game, this next one, obviously the next game is always the most important game, but the next one is the last home game. It's a penultimate game of the season, but the final home game of the season. The Giants are 0-8 at home so far this year. They want to try to get one win at least for these home fans that show up week in and week out, these season ticket holders that pay the PSLs, that come support the Giants in person. But this is a tough matchup, you guys. This is the Indianapolis Colts that are coming in. Jonathan Taylor's coming off of a 200+ rushing performance, and we know how much the Giants have struggled against the run. And when you have this kind of opponent coming in, when you've got a mobile quarterback in Anthony Richardson and a run game behind a Jonathan Taylor that's a tank, you got to kind of imagine that there's a little bit of pressure on this team too to get at least one win at home in this 2024 season.
No, for sure there's pressure, but you just mentioned the two guys, Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, and here's the catch-22 on that. To me, I'm sure that the game plan, you want to make Richardson throw the ball. You want to make him throw the ball. Maybe force him to make some mistakes, errors, and this and that. To force him to throw the ball, what's the best way? You got to stop the run. Stopping the run means, as you just said, Matt, stopping Jonathan Taylor. Good luck with doing that. That's the catch-22 of the situation. If you're going to make Richardson throw, you got to stop the run, and that's a tall task, especially with, Dexter, not in the lineup. Very, very difficult. Nothing's easy for the Giants, but this one, that's exact situation. If you're going to force a guy to pass, you got to do something about the run, and that's the tall order for the Giants, from my estimation, this week.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I mean, looking at this Colts team, their game on Sunday against the Titans, who going into that game, had at the very least like a solid run defense. The Colts ran between Anthony Richardson and Jonathan Taylor alone, the two of them combined for 288 yards on the ground and 4 rushing touchdowns just between the two of them. Then they had two other guys that combined for, nearly 50 additional rushing yards, which gave them well over 300 yards on the ground in the entire game. And again, that's against a Titans run defense that has been playing decently all season. So unlike, I said this before the Ravens game, I said this before the Saints game, and even a little bit before this Falcons game, that stopping the run has to be the number one priority. Now, the difference between this upcoming game and those games is that with Anthony Richardson under center at the quarterback position, this is a situation where, as a defense, you can sort of sell out to stop the run, force him to beat you with his arm, because while he is capable of, hitting those very deep 50-yard touchdown passes, he's pretty inaccurate as a quarterback, Anthony Richardson, and he has a tendency to throw interceptions. I mean, the Giants just picked up the 3rd interception of the season yesterday, Cordell Flott on a tip play by Kyle Pitts. They're going to have a lot of opportunities to potentially get their hands on the ball again this Sunday. So I'm fully with you, Russ, in this matchup against the Colts. Stack the box, do whatever you need to do to. You're not going to shut down Jonathan Taylor, but to somewhat slow him down or contain him. Do whatever it needs to be done in that sense. Force Anthony Richardson to beat you through the air, because if that is the case, and that if you can slow down the run and make him beat you through the air, I feel like then you have at least a chance to win this game and pick up that first home victory, so you don't become the first team in NFL history to lose 9 games at home, because obviously nobody wants that.
Well, and also, I mean, Anthony Richardson, you mentioned the completion percentage. That was such a focal point of scouting him out of college as well, that he had a low completion percentage. He is such an athlete. Of course, this is his almost mulligan rookie year. He played a little bit his rookie year, but was banged up most of it. So this is his second season, his first real full season, but he's throwing just 47% completion percentage this year, which is low. And so if you can force him to throw, but again, like Russ mentioned, you got to stop the run. You got to stop Jonathan Taylor to be able to effectively force him into that situation. Can the Giants defense do that? Can the Giants defense accomplish this on a consistent basis this week?
Again, everybody, all coaches have game plans, but to me, from a defensive standpoint, Madeline and Matt, this one's simple. Go stop Jonathan Taylor. That is not simple. The game plan itself is simple, but go stopping him is another thing. And then listen, offense has to be better. We've seen bright spots. We know that Malik Neighbors and Tyrone Tracy are vital parts of this team moving forward, and very good parts. They are. But everybody's got to be better. The quarterbacking's got to be better. The blocking's got to be better. Everything has to be better. We can't be throwing picks. We can't be putting the ball on the ground. That's not how you win. You can't. What was it? 3 turnovers, 2 pick sixes. I'm trying to be as nice as I possibly can. But Dave said it himself after the game. You can't win that way. You beat yourselves. And you know what? Get beat by an opponent. Don't beat yourself. That's a thing that has to be straightened out this week.
Exactly.
Yeah, when it comes to the Giants offense, I spoke about what the defense needs to do to sort of give themselves a chance to win this Sunday. In terms of the offense, and I think this was the biggest knock on the offense in Sunday's game against the Falcons was that Drew Lock was just under pressure constantly in this game. And we've seen the offensive line of the Giants sort of have a up and down season. It started off really well with having the same guys. I think it was the first 6-7 games of the season. And then, once Andrew Thomas went down, sort of was like a domino effect with other guys getting hurt, guys just, seeing their production sort of dip. But against the Falcons, Drew Lock, according to Next Gen Stats, was pressured on 19 of 42 dropbacks, which was 45.2% of his dropbacks. That was the second highest pressure rate the Falcons have had all season. Yeah. So, and when he had a clean pocket, though, Locke actually threw for 135 yards and the touchdown. So he was able to put up solid numbers when he was given a little bit of time and protection in the pocket. It's just the unfortunate thing was he didn't have many instances where he actually was given time in the pocket. So this Colts team does not, rush the passer quite as well as some other teams around the league. I think they're in the bottom half of the NFL in terms of sacks as a team. So again, an opportunity on paper that the Giants might be able to take advantage of. But as we've seen, having an advantage on paper doesn't mean anything if you can't actually execute come Sunday. So the Giants, if the offensive line can give Drew Lock some time, then maybe we'll see more drives like that touchdown drive against the Falcons.
Yeah, you know what, Madeline, Sean O'Hara made a very good, because I was watching it last night. I watched the whole thing, and Sean O'Hara made a very good point with you were talking about the pick sixes and the tips and this and that. And it was a really good point, because I was saying that to myself, for a tall guy.
But he throws sideways.
Yeah, for a tall guy, he gets too many passes tipped for a tall guy. I mean, he's got to be 6'5".
Yeah. He's tall though. Yeah.
He's tall. Okay. But that being the case, there are too many balls tipped. And Sean was explaining it about the way he throws the ball. It's all part of it.
Right. Well, and what Sean was saying essentially is like there's shorter quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, but the way he throws it is up and over, and the throwing motion won't get tipped. That's why the height of a quarterback is such a point of emphasis. But Drew Lock, despite being a tall guy, he kind of sidearms it.
Yes.
The trajectory of the ball comes out this way, and it takes a little bit to get loft over the line, and it can get tipped more at the line, because we've seen it week in and week out pretty frequently. His passes getting tipped at the line.
Yeah. And I was looking at, I was trying to figure out why it's happening. And then when Sean was explaining it, then I went back and looked at some stuff, and I'm saying, you know what? He's right about that. And that's a good explanation, but it's got to be corrected.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's also like, it's like Charles Barkley changing his golf swing. Sometimes, that's just how you throw it, and you've had some quarterbacks that have found success. Phillip Rivers was another guy who kind of sidearmed it throughout his entire career, an odd throwing motion there, but it works. And so it's a tough thing to change, but it is something that needs to be addressed, because you want to get the ball to your playmakers. And speaking of which, one of the playmakers that got the ball 7 times this week, Malik Neighbors, broke the Giants rookie receiving record. He's got 97 catches on the season, breaking the record set by Odell with 91. obviously after the game, he talked about it, acknowledged it, but said, yeah, but we still lost. It's tough to
Right.
go for that. The rookie receiving record set last season by Puka Nacua is 105, so he's 8 shy of that. But you got a couple other players in the league that are also chasing that, namely Brock Bowers. He's got 101 receptions on the season so far as well. So we'll see how that all shakes out with 2 games remaining. But a personal accolade that could be achieved by Malik Neighbors in an otherwise struggling season.
Yeah, no,
Matt.
I
Yeah,
like his
and
attitude, guys. I mean, he's some people say, well, the way he answers fine. He's not happy. Why should he be happy? He's part of a team that's just lost 10 in a row. He's not happy with doing that. And he's not patting himself, like a lot of guys, oh, I'm having a great game, so that's okay. No, it's not okay with him. They described him as being a dog coming in, a DAWG. He is a dog. He wants to play and he plays hard and he plays hurt. Boy, I'll tell you what, when I saw him go out for a play or two, I don't know if it was holding his arm or his neck or his shoulder. I'm saying, no, this can't be happening again. Fortunately, he came back in. No, he's okay. Ditto for Tyrone Tracy, but we got 2 left. Let's see what they can come up with.
yeah, and then just in terms of the, personal accolades, again, when a season's going like this, those personal accolades don't mean a whole lot. But
Right.
at the end of the day, Malik Neighbors' name will be, in the Giants record books, whether it's number 1 or number 2 in terms of rookie receptions, well, yes, he has the rookie reception record now, but one record actually that we did not discuss, which, Brock Bowers honestly might end up with the all-time rookie record because he is 4 catches ahead of Malik now. They both have 2 games left. However, Malik Neighbors is only 10 receptions shy of tying Steve Smith of the Giants for the all-time single-season reception record in Giants history, rookie or veteran, regardless. So 11 more catches, and he's setting the all-time reception record for this franchise, which obviously his yardage total is not too high. He's not averaging, his average yards per reception is not quite where in an ideal world you want it to be. But the fact that he's able to have this much production as a rookie should just show that he has a very bright future ahead. And whenever the Giants, however they decide to address the quarterback situation in the offseason, whoever is brought in, hopefully that quarterback can help take Malik's game to even a higher level next year and beyond.
Well, and the fact that Malik Neighbors has been able to accomplish this with not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 different quarterbacks throwing the ball to him is also something that is
Yep.
worth noting because it shows just what a point of emphasis he is in this offense. It's not just that he has a specific chemistry with a quarterback, because with Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, Tim Boyle all throwing him the ball, he has gotten this number and this volume of catches, which shows that he is a reliable asset no matter who is under center. And that is an accomplishment as well for the rookie who's already made a name for himself in the Giants record books in their 100 seasons of existence. He is one of the standout players. And of course, the future is bright, but still 2 games left to go in this season. And we'll continue to keep you updated with all the latest as the 2024 season winds down. But that's a wrap for our show this week, Week 17 Giants Hangout, brought to you by Crestron. For Russ Salzberg and Matt Sytak, I'm Madeline Burke. We'll see you next week.